Hello everyone, I'm here on Valley Street in New Haven, Connecticut to check out a road construction project that started in the summer and just wrapped up. So the project is called Valley Street Traffic Calming, and so it was originally proposed to kind of calm all the speeding that's happening on Valley Street, but it turned out to be much more than that in a project. So a little history on Valley Street. Valley Street is pretty much a purely residential street. Serves the West Hills neighborhood over in the west side of New Haven. But Valley Street is parallel to Whaley Avenue, a 4-lane state route that connects downtown New Haven to the Route 15 highway. And so you can imagine that in the morning and afternoon rush hours, Whaley Ave gets pretty congested, and so people like to use Valley Street as a cut-through route. So people going to the highway are really filling this street that should be a quiet residential street with a lot of traffic and a lot of speeding. So this project was initiated to try to calm some of that traffic, maybe hope that some of it would stop using Valley as a cut through and take Whaley instead. But if they do continue to use Valley as a cut through, just make sure that they're complying with the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. So that's how the project initially started, just to put in some traffic calming elements, speed humps, raised intersections. But it really turned out to be a pedestrian safety and accessibility project, because traffic calming elements and pedestrian safety kind of go hand in hand. You make it safer, you make it slower for cars to go down the street, makes it safer for pedestrians. And a lot of these elements are actually really accessible for pedestrians as well. So let's check it out. I'm going to walk down the whole length of this 1.2 mile street and show you some of the improvements along the way. So this is the northern end of Valley Street at the intersection with Pond Lily Avenue. In the northern half of Valley Street, there actually wasn't too much to do in terms of road work, because this section was reconstructed, I want to say around 2011, with some pedestrian improvements and new curb and sidewalks. So it's really just repaving the road and upgrading the pedestrian ramps to be ADA compliant. So you can see here the road was all repaved. It was striped with 10-foot lanes. Narrower lanes make drivers go a little bit slower because they feel a bit more squished. So that's why we have this shoulder line here. And just new markings all along there. And now we're going to head south, check out some more. So here's our first major traffic calming element at the intersection with Harbor Street. This is a full raised intersection. So instead of a usual intersection where, in order to use the crosswalk, pedestrians have to ramp down into the street, cross the street, and then ramp back up, the road actually ramps up to sidewalk level. So everything in the middle of this intersection is at the same level as the sidewalk. And so the basic thing is that the whole intersection acts like a giant speed hump. We'll see here. Cars have to slow down to go up and over. Then the ramp is all the way on the other side of that crosswalk. So that slows down cars, because intersections are one of the most dangerous places on the road. So if you can make sure that speeds are slow, it makes it safer for everyone. It's also really good for pedestrian accessibility, because if you're using a wheelchair or you're pushing a stroller, going up and down the ramps can be a little bit tiresome. So everything's at the same level. So it just kind of feels like you're walking across a sidewalk. Also notice an interesting addition here, we have bollards on all the corners. And that is a recommended practice when you have raised intersections, because usually at an intersection you have that vertical delineation with the sidewalk up on curb level and then the road a little bit lower. When everything's at the same level, you don't want cars accidentally driving over the sidewalk, because they wouldn't be able to feel it with their tires. So we put these bollards on the corner to make sure that cars really stay in the road space. So a little engineering tidbit here. Raised intersections, because of the abrupt grade change, usually interrupt drainage patterns in the area. So this catch basin is a new catch basin. So is that one there. That manhole on the corner was where the catch basin used to be. So the catch basin was converted to a manhole so that people can walk on top of it. This catch basin pipes across to that catch basin, and that catch basin pipes into that one. And we maintain the existing drainage system with a couple new catch basins, and there's no ponding at the raised intersection. So now, as we're continuing to head south along Valley Street, there wasn't much to do in this section. This crosswalk is new. This crosswalk is new. As part of this project, Valley Street, with all the speeding vehicles and the heavy volume of vehicles, the street is supposed to be like a neighborhood spine and help connect all the residents of this community to each other. But instead, it was pushing them apart, because the street was just the Wild West over here with speeding vehicles. It wasn't safe to cross. So over the whole, over 1 mile of road, in the existing condition, there were only 8 crosswalks across the street in entirety. And now, as part of this project, there are 18 crosswalks across Valley Street. So really helping to create more connectivity between residents. And of those 18 crosswalks, 9 of them are raised. So huge addition to the community in terms of pedestrian safety. Now we're approaching the East Ramsdale intersection, one of the signalized intersections. We're going to check out some of the new elements here. All right, so the East Ramsdale traffic signal intersection, you'll see this is also a raised intersection. This is not something that's usually done, raised intersections in conjunction with a signal. So we're trying it out. We want to see how much benefit it actually provides. Because there's a slight downhill here, people were speeding and therefore running the red light. So our theory is that if we have a raised intersection, people are going to be less likely to try to beat the red light, because usually you have to speed up to do that. And who's going to want to speed up to absolutely launch themselves over a raised intersection? So we're hoping that works out. Again, raised intersections, so we have the bollards on the corner. New pedestrian signals all around, accessible pedestrian signals. That crosswalk is new. There never used to be a crossing there. It was just this one and this one. So now we have that third crossing so people can cross all legs of the intersection. And there's also a little bump out on that corner there to help reduce this crossing distance. So now we're going to head down to this downhill section of the street. It's only about maybe a quarter mile long, but this section of street received the most construction out of the whole project, and I'm really excited to show the improvements. A lot of these side street intersections intersected Valley Street at such a weird angle that it just made the openings here for the side streets super long, crosswalks over 100 feet long. And those wide corners just really facilitated drivers taking them at super high speeds, and it was not conducive to a walkable neighborhood environment. So this whole section of downhill stretch got new curbs, new sidewalks, and the intersection geometries were teed up to 90 degrees. There's about, I think, 4 of them in total, and 1 more at the end of Valley Street. So we're going to check it out. So this is the intersection of Victory Drive. The road used to come down here in this big sweeping corner. So it said the curb was just brought up straight, and then a sharp corner to tee that intersection up into 90 degrees. Makes the pedestrian crossing only 30 feet long instead of probably more than double what it was before. It also saves money in the long run. When this road has to be repaved in a little while, that's so much less asphalt area to mill and pave. Now it's a nice small intersection, saves money on maintenance. Here's the next intersection. This is Valley Place North. Again, teeing up that intersection to 90 degrees. New crosswalk. There wasn't a crosswalk here before. And all this grass here used to be the road. It wasn't needed. It just allowed people to really fly into here at high speeds. Made the crosswalk super long. So now we have new sidewalk, new area here for grass, potential tree plantings in the future. And we have this complete sidewalk that continues down the road. Next up is Valley Place South. Again, the same thing, 90-degree intersection. All this grass space used to be road, just a huge expanse of asphalt. This crosswalk was, I think, the longest, over 100 feet. So this is actually a bump out here as well. The road kind of went through there. Now, this intersection is home to The Shack, which is the West Hills Community Center. And so we figured there's going to be a lot more pedestrian activity in this area. So we've got crosswalks on both legs here with the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, so pedestrians can press the button, get a flashing light, just for to be more conspicuous as they're crossing. But yeah, this sidewalk I'm walking on just used to be roadway. It was just a huge amount of asphalt and not needed. Take a look up the street. You can see these lanes, again, are striped for 10 feet. Narrower lanes to slow down vehicle speeds. There was one speed table up there just because people really pick up speed on this downhill, so just trying to control that. And then the next raised element is right down there next to the police station. Here we have the intersection with Parkside Road. This was another super wide intersection. It was actually striped as 2 lanes coming towards the camera before, just because it was so wide. But all that grass area used to be road. Now we have this raised intersection with crosswalks across all legs here, one bollard on the corner there. Now this is actually pretty funny. It's kind of a hybrid raised intersection and raised crosswalk. So that road comes out at such a steep grade that in order to make ADA work, the sidewalk has to flatten out there, so it's not on such an angle. So it's kind of a raised crosswalk on top of a raised intersection. It's a low volume side street, so it works. For people on Valley Street, it's just a typical raised intersection. Just one of those unique things that you find out during construction that has to be done to make everything work. Another raised intersection here at Strong Street, the bollard on the corner. Pretty basic. Got the housing development here, so their driveway had to be reconstructed to be flush with the raised intersection. That's pretty much the only unique thing at this location. Next, I want to highlight this new crosswalk at the West Hills Road intersection. So this was kind of a last-minute addition to the plans. Originally, there was just going to be a crosswalk from one curb all the way to the other. But in this area, Valley Street kind of widens out a bit for the bridge, and the shoulders would have been about 7 feet wide. So why have a crosswalk across 2 lanes of traffic and 2 really wide shoulders when you can do something a little bit different? So if we look here, you can see how the travel lanes deflect to either side and create this space in the middle. And over here, you can use that extra space in the middle to create a physical median island. So this is really going to increase pedestrian safety. This is a Greenway nature trail. We expect to have a lot of people walking through here. And we want to increase the pedestrian safety in the area. So now, instead of crossing across the whole street in one go, you can look to the left, focus on crossing 1 lane of traffic. As you get to the middle, you can wait, you can check this side, make sure there's no cars coming, and cross the other lane of traffic. Do it in 2 stages. Makes you really comfortable pedestrian crossing. Now, a lot of the traffic calming elements that we've seen so far have been vertical elements, right? Cars going up and over to slow down. This is an example of a horizontal traffic calming element because drivers have to turn their steering wheel to the right and then to the left in quick succession, and that slows them down as well. So 2 different types of traffic calming. So again, this was kind of a last minute addition. But I really like it. It's a little bit more curb, a little bit more concrete, but makes the pedestrian crossing in this area so much safer. Now we're at Emerson Street, and this is the last intersection geometric realignment. So the road just kind of flared out as it intersected Valley Street here. This was the old curb line, and now the road just kind of tees up. It's 90 degrees at a new raised intersection. Next up, we have this mid-block crossing across from a senior center. So there wasn't too much to do here. The crosswalk already had the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, but this curb is new to be a bump out. So this is an on-street parking lane along here. And so this bump out is a form of daylighting, prevents people from parking too close to the crosswalk, and it shortens the crossing distance. And so for the engineering part of it, this is on a slight downhill. So this area here is actually going to be a future bioswale. So stormwater will be able to enter, go into this engineered soil mixture. There will be some plants in here, and that will help absorb the stormwater without having to add a new catch basin. So we've made it to the end of Valley Street at the intersection with Blake Street. So the big work here was this corner. This corner used to have a huge radius on it. And so for cars coming in that right turn lane, they would really whip around this corner to head up Valley Street. Now, this is a school, and a lot of families were really concerned about speeding traffic in this area, even when they had the pedestrian signal. So I guess the curb used to be somewhere along here. Just tighten up that radius to here, but still making sure that school buses can get around it. New, shorter crosswalk over here. That new apartment development will have a crosswalk down there, so we put in the ramp. They're going to put in their ramp. And we have this new pickleball facility over here, and the timing of their project actually works out pretty well. They were wrapping up construction just as the Valley Street project was starting, so they redid all the curb, all new sidewalk. Just makes this place look really complete. And again, just full repaving of the road, restriping of the lanes here. It was a one-lane approach, now there's a separate left turn lane. Narrowing of the lanes. And yeah, that's it. We're now here in Westville Center. We have this new complete street that will hopefully be safe and really help tie this community together. Thanks for watching.